The men's 10,000 meters final at the Tokyo Games came down to who had the best kick, and you won't believe the speed there was on the final laps. With the track and field events starting at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, the first event to win a medal is the men's 10,000 meters race, which takes place on the first day for track and field. The build-up to this race had a lot of people wondering what was going to take place once the race came. Joshua Cheptegei came into this race as the world record holder with his time of 26:11 that he set in 2020, which would make sense to make him the favorite to win gold. Other big names that were going to join him was Jacob Kiplimo, his fellow compatriot, Yomif Kejelcha, Selemon Barega, and Ronex Kipruto, the 10K road world record holder. This race was either going to be very fast or it was going to be a strategic race where the whole field takes it easy and let it come down to the final laps. Soon after this race began, we have one runner who thinks the pace is too slow and decides to go out at his own pace. The only bad thing about doing that in a race like this is that it can be very difficult to maintain the pace all by yourself for 25 laps. The rest of the field decided to maintain the slower pace, and that gave Steven Kisser a lead of over 50 meters. But if you are a fan of the sport, you know that eventually the rest of the field will cut that lead down and take over. At the World Championships in Doha 2019, we saw a very different race as the pace was pushed, and it led to some quick times for the three medalists. Joshua Cheptegei was able to win the 10,000 meters race in Doha with a time of 26:48 while pushing the pace himself. But what you notice here in Tokyo, he decides not to push the pace and lead from the front, but to stay within the pack and let others set the pace. Ronex Kipruto and Selemon Barega decide that they no longer want to stay within the pack, and they both go chase Steven Kisser. They eventually catch up to him around the 2-mile mark and stay behind him instead of taking the lead. But what you start to notice is that the lead from Kisser to the rest of the field is becoming shorter. Lap after lap the 50-meter gap is being cut down and is now less than half of that. Selemon Barega decides that he no longer wants to push the pace and drops back into the middle of the field with the rest of the guys. Ronex Kipruto also drops back from Kisser but decides to stay ahead of the pack and run by himself. The whole field is slowly making their way up to Steven Kisser, and as they do that, Kipruto is slowly put back into the pack. At this point in the race, everyone in the field is still in this race as no one is separated from the group. Just a week before this race, Jeffrey Kamwara had to drop out of the race because of a foot injury that was not going to let him perform at his best. He was definitely going to be someone to watch, as he is the previous half-marathon world record holder with a time of 58:01 and also the endurance of a 2:06 marathon. At the Kenyan Olympic trials he was able to win in a time of 27:01 at 5,500 feet elevation. That time would have converted to a very low 26-minute time at sea level. Ronex Kipruto replaced Jeffrey Kamwara for the Kenyan team, and it would be hard to count him out since he has been able to run a 10K in 26:24 on the road. The battle of the teams was between Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda. The most likely scenario for this race is that the three medalists was going to come from one of these three countries. Steven Kisser drops out of the race, and that leaves two Ugandans left in the race, Joshua Cheptegei and Jacob Kiplimo. Even after 20 minutes of running, the whole field was still packed together, but as the race came closer to finishing, the pace was starting to pick up little by little. Ronex Kipruto was in the lead until soon after Joshua Cheptegei decides it is his time to go out to the front and see if he can run away from the field. One thing to keep in mind as they get close to the final mile is that even though Joshua Cheptegei is the world record holder, that does not mean he has the best finishing speed compared to some of the other guys in the field. The tactic of letting it come down to the final few laps is a strategy that did not seem like the right thing to do for Joshua Cheptegei, as we all know that at the right time and at the right moment someone else could defeat him by having the better finishing speed. But leaving it for the last mile is also giving the fans an exciting finish that everyone wants to see. On the final 400 of this 25-lap race, 8 guys are all in the mix to get one of the 3 medals. Selemon Barega pushes away with an incredible kick to win gold. Barega joins Kenenisa Bekele and Haile Gebrselassie as Ethiopian runners that have won gold in the 10,000 meters. World champion and world record holder, Joshua Cheptegei, takes silver for Uganda and will have one more chance to win gold in the 5,000 meters race. Jacob Kiplimo takes bronze and will also join Cheptegei in the 5,000 for another chance to win another medal. Leave a comment on your reaction to this 10,000 meters race.